Okay, we're on.
What?
We're on.
Are
you feeling better?
I was sidetracked by illness. Hi, guys. Been a tough week over here at the Unhealthy Dog. It struck me at the last Q&A Saturday was when I first felt the bolt of lightning.
You first felt it?
Yeah. I told you guys something wasn't feeling so good.
That's right.
I wrote something about laying down in the bathtub.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, yeah.
You made fun of me for laying down in the bathtub. And now I'm back. My voice is a little different.
I was talking a little slow.
A little slow.
Which doesn't make sense because today we're actually doing episode 24/25. So we're doing 2 in a row. We're going to do 20 questions.
Because we're still catching up, guys.
Yeah.
We're still catching up.
So they're going to each get 2.5 minutes. So it's like speed round
for the whole thing. Yeah.
And I'm literally going to cut him off even mid-sentence. I'll give him probably a minute warning. And then
you guys will get to see what our regular conversations are like when the camera's not on.
You ready?
Ready? I got to do the intro.
Oh, go ahead.
She always is ready for me to already passed away and she's taking over the show. Like, ladies and gentlemen, this is Laura's Good Dog.
Go.
Hey everybody, it's Sean from The Good Dog, and this is the lovely Laura Morgan, and this is The Good Dog's Q&A Saturday, episode 24 and 25. Jello brain, give me a break, all right? And we're off and running.
All right.
Hit it, lady.
So we've got, after I read the question, I'm going to start the timer.
Okay.
So, question number 1 is from Karina Passos. She says, here's what's going on. I have 3 dogs at home. They're not perfect, but good dogs. They know their place. If I say no, they know what that means. One of them, a 3-year-old male, he's the one that follows the rules the most. He won't jump on the couch without permission, and if he thinks about barking, I can just tell him no, and he'll stop. He walks great on the leash by my side, stops when I do, eats near the other dogs, respectful of food, but he's always been insecure. I take him as much as I can on car rides, but he still doesn't love it and will shake for a while. I just ignore it so it won't be rewarded, etc., etc. He doesn't like meeting other dogs. He can't do the polite sniffing. A bunch of dogs make him nervous. If I don't trust him off leash at parks or beaches. If he will go, he'll ignore dogs, but if a dog runs by him, he'll react. Anyway,
Junior.
Any thoughts, ideas, suggestions are welcome. He's not on E-Collar, and I wonder if that would help him. If you believe so, is just teaching him heel and recall enough? So nervous dog, basically like obedient but nervous. So.
Okay, because I've only got minutes, I got to actually consult my notes so I don't blow anything. All right,
and go.
One of the things I want you to check out is just I'm being sabotaged.
Go.
It's respecting his fundamental state, right? So if your dog, it sounds like your dog's not crazy about a lot of other dog interaction. So I'd really ask you to respect that. And while stretching his boundaries and asking him to get better in certain contexts, I also want you to respect and advocate for him that you don't put him in places just because you want him to be social when he doesn't enjoy being social. Junior, down. Sorry, guys. I can't think with the tap dancing. So with a lot of dogs, they don't enjoy the social interactions with unfamiliar dogs. They might have 1 or 2 dogs they really feel good about. I would pick those dogs out and I would exclude forcing them to be social in order for them to be social and better and happier with other dogs, because a lot of them just don't enjoy it. So that's one thing. I've got a blog post on that called Respect Your Dog, Respect Yourself, I think, something like that. That's really important, that talks a lot about this. Go to the Good Dog Life blog and check that one out because it speaks to this a lot. And then the other part, as far as the E-Collar stuff, E-Collar would definitely help with giving confidence and overall state of mind and better obedience and a better dog comprehensively. I'd go with, like I usually do, recall, heel, place, just stuff to build confidence and have them feel connected to you. That's what I'd go for. I'm out.
Whoa, look at you.
Boom.
Okay, guys, we've got question number 2.
And I've got extra seconds to roll over.
No. This doesn't work like that.
Shannon Morris?
Okay, Shannon Morris. She says, question number 2, Shannon Morris. My issue is getting my dogs to give my kids the same respect that they give me and my husband.
Mm-hmm.
It's one pit mix, and they don't follow commands given by my 11 and 9-year-olds. Hit it.
That's it?
Yes.
Good Lord. I was caught snoozing. Okay, so kids are kids, right? So it doesn't make sense for dogs to just naturally respect your kids like they respect you. The reason they respect you is because you're adults, and because as adults you set boundaries for your kids and you set boundaries for your dogs. So your kids don't do that. So they don't naturally get an extension just because they're human beings of respect. So if you want to create respect for your kids, you're going to either have to advocate for them and be a stand-in for discipline, for making sure the dogs abide by space around them. He's trying to drive me crazy, abide by space around them and make sure that they're polite, and you correct the dogs for not doing it, whether you're using a leash and prong or spatial pressure or an e-collar, or you teach your kids how to train the dogs and start to create that same foundational respect and relationship. But it doesn't just come just because they're human beings. Kids act more like puppies, so dogs treat them more like puppies. They're energetic, they're running around, they're very noisy, they don't move like us, and so you either have to be the stand-in and make it happen so the dog gets it, or you have to teach your kids to go out and do it themselves. Not an easy answer, unfortunately, but that's dogs don't give us an easy out on that one.
Wow, look at you. Gosh.
I do well with boundaries.
Okay, question number 3. We've got Julie Wolfer. Hi, Sean. I want to adopt a second dog, someone who really needs a home. My dog seems to enjoy the company of other dogs. I've missed out on a few before because the shelter, rescue, etc. deem that they be the only pet.
Yeah.
My question is a general one. In your experience, how many dogs have you come across that really need to be the only animal? I realize there's a period of adjustment and some may need more training than I'm currently capable of giving, but can't most dogs at least learn to coexist with each other and a cat? Ideally, they wouldn't become BFFs, but if not, at least live together peacefully and content. Thanks.
Julie, okay, so
Go.
yeah, a lot of dogs can. A lot of dogs can coexist. A lot of dogs, the ones we never hear about, they don't contact us. They get adopted, added to a family. It's already got a dog, already got a cat, and everything goes hunky-dory. So a lot of them can, but there's a lot that can't. There's a lot of dogs that come in with prey issues, dogs that weren't socialized, didn't have any experience with other dogs. You bring them in your home, they're uncomfortable, they're tense. If they're prey-driven, they might go after your cat. They might try and kill your cat. If they don't have any social skills with other dogs, they could have an issue when no one's home. You could have a major fight, things like that. So that stuff is there's no easy answer for that. Yes, dogs can coexist, but not every dog can coexist. There's plenty of dogs that I wouldn't want to have live here with my dogs in my household, even with me being a dog trainer, just because they bring tension, because it's just like any other dynamic, any social dynamic, you've got to find pieces that fit together well. So what I'd recommend for you is you go out and you find a dog that is sweet, courteous, polite, deferential, and gives you just the most amazing, soft, good stuff around you and another dog, or your dogs, whatever your crew might look like. And that's how you get your best shot at dogs coexisting. When I brought Belle in, who's snoozing over here, Belle is that dog I just described. She has an issue with no dogs, no cats, no anything. Because of that, I can take her anywhere and put her in any pack and there's no problem. So that's what you're looking for to try and make it happen. But it doesn't mean you can force every dog to be that dog. So look for the right dog, don't look to mold the dog.
Yeah, and the other really quick half of that is that sometimes rescues and shelters will say this dog needs to be the only dog in a home because they've had the dog on leash with another dog around it and the dog went crazy or something like that. So it doesn't always mean that you have the best assessors for
Absolutely
the situation.
Not. The assessing from a rescue standpoint is really hard or from a shelter standpoint, because you don't get to actually get the dog involved with any other dogs.
Yeah.
You can't have them interact with your dogs at home. You have to see them. You get to walk them around in a very stressful environment. It's very, very hard. It's not an easy
20
one.
seconds.
Not an easy one to get a real honest assessment on.
Yeah.
It's a hard situation, and I don't envy anybody doing it. But the more polite dog you look for in the most context, the best chance you have of them fitting and bringing that politeness around other dogs as well.
Right on time.
Boom.
Based.
Boom.
Okay, this is question number 4. This is from Tammy Dawn.
Hey, Tammy Dawn.
Hey guys, love your videos and Q&A Saturday. Thanks for being awesome.
Thank you.
My question is about my 1-year-old Rot mix Zoe. She was a rescue and had
Zoe?
Zoe.
Oh, Zoe.
And had some really bad reactivity. We took her to classes. The trainer is actually the one who recommends your videos when
Awesome.
our classes are complete. That's so
Thanks.
cool. For prong collar, we've been using that. Her reactivity has improved a bit, but it's definitely still a problem when we come across other dogs on a walk as she redirects and lashes out on leash and has had close calls with my arm. I try correcting her before she escalates to get her to keep her cool, but she just can't focus on me or her heel. I correct her strongly as she is redirecting and after, but it doesn't seem like she even notices. Is there a step for dealing with redirecting that I'm missing? Is the prong collar not enough and I should switch to an E-Collar?
Blindfold. Earmuffs.
That was your favorite.
I love that one. Sorry. It works, but I mean, it's not a lot of fun to walk your dog like that. They bump into trees. Okay, so I would definitely go to E-Collar. So if you've watched any other episodes of this, you know that our MO is that whenever we have reactivity cases that are even in the slightest bit significant, we always go to E-Collar on them because E-Collar will de-escalate 99% of the time. Prong collar we will still use a prong collar with the dog for control, but we use the E-Collar for almost all the interaction. So the prong collar has a chance with a lot of dogs to amp them up because there's this constricting thing going on like this, right? For a lot of dogs, it's perfect. But for a lot of dogs as well, I don't know if I could say both, but I should say some dogs, it can cause an amping up and a redirect possibility. So a big, strong correction like that, it sounds like it's not working for you. It sounds like what it's doing is amping the dog up, creating a redirect possibility, and then not giving you really any motion going forward as far as better choices. So I'd hold on to the prong collar as your basic tool to have on your dog, just with your leash attached, and then go to E-Collar and use your E-Collar for what I write down for you for heel, sit, down, place, recall, and I would probably do thresholds, which is pretty much all the basics, right? So get all that stuff on E-Collar, but if nothing else, if you don't have time in your life, at least do thresholds and heel on E-Collar, and you can knock this stuff out. And once you've got the heel looking super awesome, watch our video on it. Just go to our website, watch our video on it, and then you can actually start to do corrections for your dog with the E-Collar once your dog is super savvy with the E-Collar for heel. So get the heel right first, then you can do corrections with it while you're doing heel for both position and for looking at dogs and escalating.
Yeah.
And that should work 1,000 times better than a prong collar for that and keep you safe. And if you ever have trouble where you're worried, even with the E-Collar, if there's any problems, you've got a super redirecty dog, muzzle your dog up while you work through this problem is a real safety net.
Yeah.
Make sure that doesn't happen. But with the E-Collar, unless you're pressure cooking your dog, you shouldn't see that happen. You still got to use space even with the E-Collar and prong. So use enough space to where you don't pressure cook your dog, but get those together. E-Collar, heel, E-Collar thresholds, everything else if you can. Let's squeeze that in.
Yes. Okay, question number 5. This is from Artem.
Artem,
Our buddy.
how does he always sneak in?
Artem, hello, Sean and Laura. I hope the Rhode Island winter was not really that frosty. My question's about,
Oh, it was.
my question's about leash reactivity in a German Shepherd.
This should be your question. That's a good question, right?
Why are they more reactive on leash than other breeds?
Why?
They aren't.
This is the eternal question.
They're just all bark and no bite.
Yeah, I think polar bear would beg to differ. So would your scars on your leg.
What I've had experience-wise since polar bear is that a lot of GSDs, at least that come here, because we get kind of a different breed. We get kind of just more nervous, like, hey, this is my DNA, and then they're like, oh, I'm so sorry.
Right. Conflicted.
So we get
shepherds.
conflicted shepherds here.
Yeah.
But, you know, they're pretty vocal. Anyway, I'm going to stop. Anyway, if it's okay,
Your
please
30
give
seconds is
us
up.
a short review on leash reactivity in general. Why is it happening? And leash reactive dog can be very different. Like, some of them are fearful, unsure, and some of them are bratty, some of them are uncontrolled prey drive, so on. So what do you usually do with a problem except foundation? Ooh, he got us with that except foundation.
Right?
So we were just going to say
Screw
that.
you, man. Screw you. Okay.
And go.
All right. So, good question. I wrote down a few of the traits as I feel like this has a lot to do with why we see a lot of this stuff, right? So shepherds are supposed to be protective, alert, guarding, overly connected to owners, kind of like, I don't mean overly, but like really ultra connected, not just loyal, but they're supposed to be like really connected to the family, suspicious, etc. So those are all breeding tendencies that are bred into them. Doesn't that sound like if I bred that into you, that you'd be reactive, right? I mean, those are all things that are going to cause you to be alert, guarding. It's stuff to make a dog on edge, that's suspicious of a lot of things. You combine that with what I and a lot of other trainers see as a lot of, unfortunately, not great breeding with shepherds, a lot of inbreeding, and then you get all of these like supposed to be like confident, certain, assertive, suspicious, aloof, all this kind of, guarding stuff. But now you're getting it with nervous, unsure, freaked out, worried, not a lot of confidence. And so that conflict is, you've got the DNA pulling the dog in different directions, which I think causes a lot of stress and freaks them out. And then they don't get enough direction from their owners, and then that just exacerbates it. So that's the short part of that. And then for how do we fix it besides foundation? It's foundation. No. We go to E-Collar, right, man? We go to E-Collar and we do E-Collar complete E-Collar work inside the house, and then we do E-Collar work on the walk. We correct for any wrongdoing, any kind of reactivity gets corrected, but we do foundation to get the dog in a good state to where we can have those corrections be valuable, and we teach the dog that there's a better way to react, and that for one, you can't make those choices. You can't bark at people, lunge at people, bark from the house, any of that. So they make better choices because we say you can't do it. E-Collar has a lot to do with making that work.
Yeah. Wow. Okay, we have question 6.
Do you want me to shut that window?
No, it's fine. Question 6 is from Julie Eastman Onrate. She says, "Hi, Laura and Sean. Thanks
Hi,
again
Julie.
for all you do. I want to start out with some good news.
Does that mean she's going to bad news afterwards?
My leash reactive bully breed, who's just over a year, both prong and E-Collar trained, is getting better every day now that I have my timing down.
That's great.
So a big thank you for all your videos and the help that has helped us both succeed."
Put it up. All right.
All right, now
Awesome.
for the question. She hasn't been around many dogs other than our other 2 dogs we have, and I'm really unsure about how she would be with the other dogs in a social environment because she's so leash reactive. I'm not sure if it's I'm excited or I want to eat them, basically, the dog. We will soon be in an environment where other dogs will be around because some of our friends we camp with a lot are getting a puppy. How can we go about getting her used to being around other dogs in a social environment safely and not act like a spaz? I bought a muzzle so we can have her around the puppy safely. We plan to take our dog to our friend's house with the muzzle so they can get used to each other. I don't know if she's really just dog aggressive or if she's just bratty,
Yeah. So a lot of sound, a lot of stuff, but she's not sure.
Yeah.
Sorry guys, I can't focus with airplanes landing on the roof.
Yeah.
So we've got the dog looking much better, right?
Yeah,
Much
yeah.
improved, but there's
still
sound
some
and stuff like that.
reactivity and silliness,
And she's not sure what to make of it
Yeah,
if the
she's
dog
not
is
sure if
safe,
it's-
and that's
yeah.
always a hard one. God, the easiest thing to do would be to hire a pro if there was somebody that's a trusted, balanced trainer around you that knows how to do this stuff, because then they can really make this stuff easy for you and really read it and really make it a piece of cake. What did I write down for you besides that? The biggest thing that we do, or that I recommend for you to do, is do it slowly. Whatever you're going to do it slowly. Typically, the reason why dogs get into trouble is because things move too quick. There's too much stress. There's too much novelty, too much interest, too much excitement. And then all those components add together and put dogs in a bad space. Mm-hmm. And dogs that could be best buddies could have a crappy, introduction and fight with each other instead. So that's something that we stress over and over again. The way we introduce dogs here is just really slow. And they just hang around. They don't even interact with each other. They just see each other. My guys are laying around while I'm training a dog, and they're not supposed to interact. So you can do walks next to each other. You can create moving butt sniffs. Interesting. It's a new dance move, sweeping the nation, with 2 handlers and keep the dogs moving, and then swap them out and let switch to where you've got the dogs in motion. They can sniff each other, see if there's tension, see if there's problems. But I would just don't put a lot of pressure on it, and just like think creatively. How can we have the dogs around each other without them interacting? Just walking together, not touching each other, in the house, in a downstay, just hanging, and just let them just slowly get comfortable with each other is the very best way to start. And then you can start to like bring walks together where they're both on the inside lane and the human's on the outside lane, and you can have them a little closer and you can see how they feel about that. I mean, those are just nice, easy ways to go about it. The muzzle, if you haven't muzzle conditioned the dog, the muzzle can set the dog off and create a fight. So you've got to do muzzle conditioning prior if you're going to use a muzzle, because it won't give you an accurate piece of information of how the dog feels about another dog. So that happens a lot of times. People slap a muzzle on and the dog's fighting. He's like, good God, good thing we put the muzzle on because the dog's fought. A lot of times the muzzle will trigger the fight if the dog hasn't been properly muzzle conditioned, because it stresses the dog out. There's videos for that. Just look up Josh Moran's muzzle conditioning video. So move slow, take your time, don't be in a rush. Most likely the sound is just that sound, but don't do any tense, tight leash introduction stuff like that, please, because you'll make us all cry.
That's it.
All right?
We love you.
Thank you.
Okay. Sad.
Wait, just that you cut me off?
Just cut you off.
You know.
That's just how we roll. Okay.
Trying to help everybody.
All right, question 7. This is from Melanie Scannell. She says, "Hi,
Melanie.
Sean and Laura.
Hey, Melanie.
Wishing you safe travels back to warm weather. My question this week relates to the
I
structured...
brought back the plague.
I know. Relates to the structured walk. I've been working recently on trying to tighten up my dog's heel.
Yep.
I think his head is still forward a little too much past my leg, as he seems to be constantly scouting the area for what he perceives as trouble. He also walks more ahead of me than he does when my husband walks him. He's not pulling, just slightly ahead, where I don't think he should be, especially because he's not relaxed. He's an 85-pound lab on prong and e-collar for a year now. He's significantly better, but somewhat nervous and anxious on the walk. Also, while I get a nice auto sit from him, he immediately starts looking around for anything that might bother him. Should I be correcting him for this, even though there's nothing there? I definitely correct if it's something that he's eyeing, like another dog, but often there's just nothing there. He's just scanning.
Okay.
He's Melanie scanning.
Melly scanning. Okay, Melanie.
Go.
So I'm trying to make sense of all this. So we've got sounds like great stuff, right? E-collar heel going on, dogs looking much improved, but giving her a harder time than the husband.
Yeah, it's still
which is
pulling a little bit.
right, which is not an uncommon thing that we see. We'll see sometimes our female clients get a harder time.
Yeah.
What do you usually suggest for our female clients?
A little bit of a higher level for our female clients. So
Explain why.
Yeah, just because sometimes the energy discrepancy between a male and a female, not to bash all my strong, independent, Beyonce-loving ladies out there, but there is a discrepancy in fundamental energy that sometimes dogs can take advantage of if they're prone to that.
We'll definitely try, yeah.
Yeah, so I will have, ladies' night, basically, where Sean will send me up to work with a client, and we typically will roll up maybe 10 or 15 higher than the husband, and the dog reacts the same to that correction as he does with the lower level with the husband. So you just may need to be at a higher level just to show that you mean business. And then, for the scanning, you can definitely correct for that. Here's the deal. What? You can definitely correct for any scanning.
Higher level correction.
Oh my gosh. I'm just a parrot.
Right? Look at that. She hasn't read my notes, but she just said what I said. That's great. Keep going.
I was just going to say, what's the intent when he's scanning? It's not good stuff.
You are a good student.
Thank you. It's not good stuff that he's scanning for, right?
No,
he's not scanning.
he's nervous.
Yeah. What's going on? We want to correct it not because we're like, how dare you look around? We're correcting because we're saying you're uncomfortable. Knock it off. I got this. Don't be uncomfortable.
Relax.
Don't be uncomfortable. Yeah.
Yep.
So if you can shift, I think this is a good note for everyone. If you can shift your perception of an e-collar correction from correcting you because you're bad to more of a communication, whether it's calm down, relax,
Stop looking
come
at
over
that.
here. Yeah, stop looking at that. It's much more of a communication device as it is just like correction, like hammer from the sky. So of course you correct that, because just like if I was sitting next to you in the car going, well, what if we're late to the thing? What if I didn't get the right gifts? What if I... Oh, it's okay.
Better.
Good.
Now we can move on.
All right.
So,
I think we're
and
out
you're
of
out of time.
Well.
So, yeah. good answer, and that's what I would have suggested, and it's actually what I have written down here as well. So she didn't need the notes, I do.
Actually cheated. Okay, question 8. This is from Kim Baird, right?
Yep.
So Kim says, "Hi guys, can I use an e-collar to train my dog if we have an invisible fence? He's a 65-pound lab border collie mix and can get very mouthy with humans when he gets excited. I'm a little concerned about training with an e-collar in the yard or house when an e-collar is also used for our perimeter. Suggestions would be gratefully appreciated. Thanks."
All right, Kim. So we don't get a ton of invisible fence stuff out here in LA. I know my partner Jeff in Rhode Island and all the East Coast cronies, there's a ton of invisible fence stuff that goes on. So I'll do my best with what I've heard and what I understand from it. And that is that you can absolutely do e-collar work with the invisible fence. But what I would do is I would train the dog out of the yard. I'd get him somewhere else. I'd work him somewhere independent where he doesn't have the concern about the boundary and setting that off and getting a high-level correction, to where you can start teaching him that the e-collar is actually going to have a different kind of thing. So it's going to be a wider communication rather than just he's going to get bonked for stepping over a line in the backyard. So if you want to train him inside the house, or you want to go to a park, or you want to go out in your street or something like that, get him out of that backyard or front yard or whatever it is that's got the electric fence, and teach him independent of that. And once he gets rock solid with that, then you can bring him back into the house and you can recall him from the yard, and he'll understand what all that stuff means. The only thing I'd like to suggest is I'd love for you not to use it just for a corrective tool. That's why I'm saying do foundation work. At least do like recall, sit, place, down, that kind of stuff would be really great, because otherwise he's used to a high level correction from the electric fence, and if that's all you use it for in your house, because I think she said jumping and some other stuff, then unfortunately your dog, my suspicion is that he could start to get kind of whacked out about it in your house, because he's like, wow, is this the same kind of like weird high level correction stuff that I experience outside? And so I'd rather you train him more comprehensively and use the e-collar in a little bit more of a nuanced fashion. You can still correct, but if you do the foundation work, you won't need all these corrections and just bonking him for it. Plus the e-collar will have a much deeper understanding in his mind for what it is than just something that's just a hammer from the sky. Yeah. So, and if you don't like that answer, then email Jeff Gelman at jeff@solidk9training.com, and I'm sure he's done 1 million electric fence clients, and he could help you out with that. Yeah. We're zooming, guys. Zooming.
Okay.
All those words I wasted before.
This is question 9. This is from Angela Wallace.
Hi,
she
Angela.
asked a few, but you just picked one.
Angela, we got to narrow you down, lady. She narrows me down, so.
No. She says, "Hi, Sean and Laura. My question is in regards when you start to eliminate the e-collar stimulation when learning a behavior like place and come. If the dog's consistently responding well to the command learned in conjunction with e-collar pressure, at what point do you eliminate the e-collar pressure?"
Good question. So the way we look at it, see if I can say this real quick. So we use the e-collar pressure, low-level pressure, guidance with the leash, sit down, place, recall, heel, all of that, to teach the behavior. That's how we teach the dog what it means. That's how we teach him what place means, what sit down means, all that with the e-collar. Once they know that, then what we do is we go to corrections, which is the second phase of it, which is where we're really getting off the collar. We still have the e-collar on the dog, but now we say sit, and if the dog doesn't sit, we give him a tap. Instead of pressing and holding at a lower level of, say, like 8, we might give them a tap at 12 or 15 to correct and say, hey, you know what sit means, you have to give me that, or place, and you have to give me that, or recall. You call your dog and he's like, you didn't press the button and hold it, so I don't need to come. Instead, you hit 15, pop, and he goes, boom, tick, comes running to you. So that's the way that I recommend that you do that. We use low-level pressure and guidance with the leash and e-collar to teach it. Once the dog knows it very clearly and is not struggling and can deal with distractions, then go to corrections, which is you give the dog a free pass, you give the command. If he doesn't do the command properly, then you tap the button typically we'll repeat the command with the button, with the correction, and still have the long line or leash on the dog to help him in case he gets confused, because when you go from the softer continuous pressure to the sudden higher level pressure, the dog can get a little bit concerned or unsure about it because it feels a little bit different. So keep a long line or a leash on your dog. Just because he knows it in one context doesn't mean he might not mess up in another, so don't get frustrated with him. Help him through, and then eventually you don't really need the e-collar much. You can just have it on your hip if you're really cool, and correct your dog for those moments that he doesn't do what you're looking for.
Yep.
That's it.
Okay, so we've got
number 10. Only 10 more to go.
10. Okay, this is from Sue Roth. She says, I'm new to the Good Dog Way, but thoroughly impressed. I purchased a Springer collar and started walking my dog with your tips. She has in the past been very focused on my husband, but since I'm walking her and making demands at her at doorways and the like, she's definitely more interactive with me and just wants to hang out with me more than before. See, you guys? It's awesome. You get a better bond. I love it. I'm so excited for you, Sue. She has a really small neck, and I'm using a small collar, but I think that we don't get enough pinch through all that fur with it, so I may move up, but not sure. My question revolves around separation anxiety. We kennel her when gone from our home and also at night, which she resists but we're working on it. My neighbors tell me she cries most of the time we are gone. This is not resolved over the past 6 months. She's 10 months old. We are campers, and this won't be acceptable in a campground this summer. I don't want her miserable the entire time we're gone from home. Not sure how to leave her with a solid feeling that we'll return, or what really is the problem that shows itself as separation anxiety. Then she says, thank you so much, all that stuff.
Great.
So,
you're very, very welcome.
Yeah.
Okay, so for separation anxiety, we typically do all of our regular work, all of our regular foundation work, stuff that sounds like you're doing, and then we go in the crate. And we get dogs like this all the time, and we use an e-collar to correct that vocalization, whining, barking, whatever it is. Your dog may just say, I don't want to be in here. Your dog may say, I'm worried about being in here. Your dog may say, I'm stressed. Your dog may think you're not coming back. Your dog could think a multitude of things. We'll actually never know. So don't put yourself through too much stress about it. The important thing is that you break that cycle of whatever the emotional rumination is that's causing your dog to be stressed out. And even though it sounds counterintuitive, we correct it, and it actually helps your dog break through and stop doing it. So I don't have a no bark collar that I'm crazy about right now. So we've got a dog that's barking its bloody head off right now. So I'm using a remote. That's what that's here in my hand for that, because I can be really sensitive to it. Anytime I hear a sound, I've got a camera on the dog too. I just correct, and I sleep with it too. Now there's the sport dog. No bark collar, there's the E-Collar Tech no bark collar, and there's the Dogtra no bark collar. All three of them are good. Some people like certain things about them. Some things. The last one we recommended was a sport dog, and so that's probably the one I recommend right now because I know it worked pretty well. So thing with the no bark sport dog collar or any of the other ones, they're automatic. They correct without you being present. Problem is they're rarely as sensitive as you want them to be, and they let a lot of whining and barks go by. So my preference for you would be that if you can muster the dough, is that you start get a mini educator and use this to remotely correct your dog. Set up we've got a drop cam that's connected to our phones and our computer, and so you can put the dog anywhere. Through your Wi-Fi system in a room, and then when your dog makes any sound, you start correcting with the e-collar. You start low, and you start finding levels that your dog cares about to stop whining about. So I'd recommend you start with this in a perfect world, and then once that's great, then go to a no bark to back you up and reinforce that hopefully will continue the work while you're gone when you can't correct when you're not at home. So that's the recommendation for that, and I don't believe in a bunch of really fancy put the dog in the crate for 5 seconds and then take him out for 10 seconds and put him in for 15 seconds or any of that stuff. I haven't found that stuff to work. What I've found to work is don't do that anymore. Let's break you through this. And the dogs all go home that have separation anxiety in a better space. Yep. So that's it. E-Collar Tech Mini Educator. Get it off of Amazon. And put it on your dog and get a camera, baby cam, drop cam, FaceTime with your with your tablet or your phone and hide out and start correcting your dog for it and see what you get. You might be very, very surprised how you can sort that out.
You got a little extra time on that because I was distracted.
Cumulatively, I probably have minutes left. All right.
Cool. So now we have next.
Now we're on to
question
25.
11. Yeah,
this is
number 25.
This is number 25.
Q&A Saturday number 25.
Okay. Here we go. We're back.
All right. So we have.
You're going to edit these together as one piece, right?
Yeah, it's
Cool.
going to be one piece.
So I don't need to do. Hey, everybody,
No.
it's Sean. Okay.
Are we doing just question 11?
Well, I've got them numbered as 1.
Okay.
So
this.
I can probably figure it out. But
So
Jello brain is fragile.
10.1.
Yeah.
All right. Question number 10.1, 11-1-25-25-1 is from Gregory Mard.
Hey, Gregory.
Hello, guys. Glad you got home safe
Thanks for
and sound.
the really nice comment you left for me a couple weeks ago, by the way. Really appreciated that.
I'm not privy to that.
I read it to you. You just don't remember. I'll remind you about it.
Oh, yeah, okay. So what is the best way to e-collar condition? I've been working the male with the e-collar heel, but not sure he gets that. I have done some recall on the long line, and he's a Velcro dog now on a leash. I'm confused. Thanks.
All right, Gregory. So for e-collar conditioning, you can really do just about any exercise, but I think a few of them work easiest. And we typically do either recall, place, or heel as the first starting point where we condition the dog. So they'll all work, and then you can transfer from anywhere from there. So don't feel like you're stuck because you started in one place. Now, so that said, you're talking about Velcro dog, and Velcro dog's actually a common term when training dogs with recall, and for a lot of trainers, they actually want you to get to that point of Velcro dog. That's kind of like their next step, their next stepping off point of going to your next step. So the reason you've got Laura, the reason you've got Velcro dog going on is because. Wow, there's a grizzly bear in my campsite back there, guys.
My dear, I'm prepping the meal before
it's really loud over here, just letting you know. So the reason you've got Velcro dog is because your dog is a little out of balance. He's been conditioned a lot to come back to me. When you walk away, you've got to come back to me. If you get stimmed, come back to me. You get stimmed, come back to me. So now your dog's saying, well, okay, I'm just not going to go away because when I go away, I get stimmed and have to come back to you. So that's obviously not what you're looking for. So your dog's a little out of balance. So what I do is there's a couple things you can teach, like sit at a distance. You can do that by back tying your dog to like a tree, and you can teach him sit and then have you be moving away to where your dog is learning, wow, these commands actually work, or the e-collar is actually effective at a distance as well. Hang on one second, we've got all hell breaking loose here. Sorry. But what we typically do is I just start, and I used to do the back tying and doing that, but I found that wasn't really necessary. What I started to do was just teach place, sit, and down, because then you can start leaving the dog at a distance, and the dog starts learning, okay, I'm allowed to be at a distance, it's not a problem. And then you can start recalling the dog from one place to another place, and you can travel around and move away and come back and like give him a reward, give him a treat, and your dog goes, oh, okay, I don't have to just be stuck with you all the time. Also, give him some good amount of break time, right? So make sure you've got a release command. So when you recall him to you, then you want to say break and let him go, and then just make sure you let him have some free time. You might have to run around like a fool with him to get him to kind of release, because he's getting so used to being next to you that he's Velcro dogged. So that's what I'd recommend. Well, I got very distracted by all that stuff.
Sorry.
That's what I'd recommend, is to go sit down in place and then start recalling your dog from different spots at space and distance like that, so he gets used to being away from you. And trying not to do so many darn recalls right now, and get him into the other stuff, and then fine tune your heel command as well. Thanks, Greg.
Cool. Okay, question 2. You gotta do 2 minutes on this one, just because
okay.
lost time.
Yeah. Sorry, that was so loud. I couldn't. You know how you
Yeah.
yell at me if you're on the phone and if I make noise. So
I definitely yell at you. Yeah. Question number 2, 25-2,
very literal
12. Hi, Sean and Laura. Firstly, thank you for your Q&As. You guys are awesome. My question is about pack walking. I'm
Yeah.
setting up a dog walking business. Yay! And wondering, do you have any tips on integrating dogs on the walk, like walk on opposite sides? Would you just let them butt sniff and keep walking, or any tips you can give me at all for my dog walking with the business end of stuff too? Thanks, guys.
Hey Shane, thanks for the question. Okay, so it's one of those things that's kind of hard to talk about and not be able to show you. If we were hanging around with a bunch of dogs, it'd be a real easy breezy. We'd get up and mess around with some dogs and show you what works. First thing is setting a tone with whatever dog that I'm going to bring into the pack. If I'm getting a dog from a client's house or something, back in the day when we used to do this, how do I take that dog from the moment the client hands it to me and start setting a tone of no monkey business, right? And getting the dog to walk with me nicely and getting him out of an aroused state if he's in an aroused state, because that's always a state that can cause more problems with other dogs. So from there, if you've got partners you're working with, obviously you guys can do, like we just talked about this in another question, you can do like side-by-side walks with the dogs not close to each other, and then you can do moving butt sniffs where you got the dogs on leash and you coordinate it and you turn it and flip it around, put the dogs where they're sniffing the other dog's butts, and go like that. And just be really cautious about what you're seeing. Make sure that if you see tension and stuff like that, don't put them in the mix. If you're talking about pack walks, like big groups together, don't move too quick on that. I really prefer that a dog gets in a really good space with the handler first and really is like relaxed, chilled out, respectful, and looking to the handler for information before you put them next to a bunch of dogs. So that's first thing. And then the last thing, you asked about business advice, and I don't have any business advice, but I do have one piece of safety advice, and that's be super duper cautious about size differentials when you're walking packs. It's the only time I've ever had anything really dangerous go on, and you have a pack attack go on, like a small dog gets like too much leash pressure or gets stepped on by another dog and he squeals, and then you've got big dogs and they go after the little dog, and that can be very, very dangerous. So I'd highly recommend that you don't mix really small dogs with a pack of big dogs. As good as you might be, it can be a dangerous thing, and I never had a dog injured, but boy was it a scary. Actually, I did have one injury situation on Burbank, but that's a whole other story. But yeah, so just that, once again, it was a size differential thing, so just be really cautious about that.
Really good.
Thanks.
Okay, question number 3.
Angela Wallace?
25-3.
Yes.
Angela says, is there any level of posturing that's acceptable when dogs are actually in the act of greeting? I only allow greeting with dogs of friends and family members.
Good.
When I know the dog and it's off-leash greeting in our yard. My collie's never shown any aggression and immediately wants to play, but she plays hard. She backs down if another dog corrects her, but has always done a lot of posturing. Ears and tail up, head and shoulders high. When sniffing and meeting a new dog, she stays up for a few minutes afterward. She's also pushy and rude in her play. Would you correct this behavior during play as well?
Okay, Angela. Yeah, I would. I'm not a big fan of like that pushy stuff with like putting paws on the back of the shoulder and heads over the neck. It really depends on the flavor, and some dogs I'll let get away with it if I know them in other contexts, that they're like super polite and goofy, and for, like Hercules will do it, and Hercules has no ill intent at all. But then there's other dogs that have a lot of bratty demeanor, like Magoo, who just left here. Yeah. And Magoo's a sweet dog, but Magoo can be a bit of a pushy so-and-so, and he'll definitely push boundaries with other dogs with paws on the back and neck stuff, and with the wrong dog, that can provoke a fight. So yeah, I would correct it. You can use a dressage whip, peck and vencer, something like that. Long line on your dog. Let him know, hey, knock that off. There's plenty of ways to play without having to be a jackass like that. So, but it's up to you to kind of cultivate that. And if you don't, the dog's probably just going to continue to do it just because it's fun until he gets his clock cleaned. And it sounds like he's back down, or she's back down, but you get the wrong dog and you can have yourself a real problem. So yeah, I'd correct it.
Yeah, so correcting both the snotty play and the kind of stiff stuff.
Well, the snotty play, and once again, that's a real feel thing. It depends on the other dog. If the other dog loves it and they're like two peas in a pod and snotty play is the order of the day. But if it feels like snotty play and pushy posturing all are going hand in hand, I'd probably be looking at both of those things to like, I mean, I'd also want to know if your dog is snotty in other contexts, because it's rare that a dog has all that stuff and doesn't show that in other places. So I'm not big on snotty. I'm not big on it, so I would definitely address it a little bit. Let the other dog tell you whether the snotty stuff is too much, and then as far as the posturing and the paws and stuff, I would definitely correct that, not allow that to go down. Cool.
Okay, question number 4. This is 25-4.
Yep.
Alexis Nowak. She says, so this is a more personal question.
Yes.
Are you ever interested in doing other types of training? For example, search, tracking, agility, and maybe protection? I've helped some of this kind of training in the past as a kid and always had fun, even with bite sleeves. I look at the dog I have now, and it seems like she'd love to do tracking, but first we have to get over the other issues before I consider it. But her actions when free to roam always get me thinking about it. Thank you for the work you do.
That is a great question, Alexis Nowak. The truth is, it's rarely known that I'm certified in all of those disciplines that you mentioned. Search and rescue, scenting, bed bugging, parachuting with dogs. Okay, no, I'm not. To be honest, the only thing I've really done differently is Belle was a flyball dog, so I trained her to do flyball, and that was a lot of fun. We just had a blast doing that, and because she's not one of those crazy, ridiculous flyball dogs that you can't live with. I mean, she's like snoozing over here comfortably. But you turn her on with a ball, and she would like beat up on border collies left and right. She was fast and furious, and she's a pity. So that was pretty awesome. Really enjoyed the flyball stuff. We did that for several years until our team kind of collapsed. But and then we did a bunch of tricks. I enjoyed doing tricks with her. We had a lot of fun doing that stuff. She's getting older, so we don't do so much of that. But to be honest, I don't personally have a huge drive to do a lot of those other things. I know there's people that really do it well, and so my fascination is more with the behavior side and psychology of why dogs do things. And I love running and building businesses behind all this stuff, so that stuff's really exciting to me as well. Being able to put other people in positions to be able to be trainers and do that and teach. Those are exciting endeavors, and those are things that I really, really put a lot of time into. So if I was going to work on just training other dogs, I would probably have to give up some of the other things I'm really excited about doing. And I love teaching, and I love training other trainers and all that. So that's kind of where my focus is at. But if it flips your switch or flips your, I don't know what the phrase is because I got jello brain, but if it turns you on, then I think you should go for it. If you like any of that stuff, you should go for it. I know my friend Jeff's having fun with it. He's having one of his dogs trained to do bed bug detection. So I think whatever turns you on, you should be going after. And so I just have a bunch of other interests beyond just the dog training itself. So
I have a lot of interest in that stuff.
Yeah, so that's actually a good segue, because Laura's she's getting a Mal right now.
In fact, I just got,
What's
which
that?
I've been smiling about because I've been texting. I just got the dog that I'm going to be getting, just got registered in my name with the U.S. Service Dog Registry. He's like he's the real deal, and I'm going to become the real deal to be able to take him. So
Awesome.
And he does like bite work, and he does nose work, and he does tracking and all that stuff. Yep. So that is really exciting to me. So I feel like if you're excited about that, and if your dog has any tendencies towards that, man, why not?
Yeah, I think you should go for it.
Yeah, but definitely get those other things sewn up as well.
Yeah. But that stuff can be a lot of fun.
A lot of fun. That's
Thanks.
why we get dogs.
Yeah.
It's cool. Okay, so question 5, 25-5.
Yep.
This is from Beth Moody. So this is a great update. She says 2 things. First, a comment. My 80-pound dog was nicknamed Cujo by friends and neighbors for his vicious lunging while walking.
Strange enough. That's her new
The
dog's
dog I'm
real
getting is
name.
named Cujo.
Literally, that's his registered
But
name.
he's far from...
No, he's a misunderstood Cujo.
So her 80-pound dog was nicknamed Cujo by friends and neighbors for his vicious lunging while walking, and we had to stop. His aggression with anyone, anywhere other than our home, and his behavior in the car.
Wow.
By using the protocol on your foundation DVD and PDFs, in less than 2 weeks, his trainer, me, a 58-year-old woman who's recovering from a big surgery and has her arm in an immobilizer, was able to help him be a peaceful gentleman. He's our buddy on walks. We love to walk him now 3 times a day, and at home, huzzah! A huge thank you. That is
Warms
so
my heart.
awesome. That's
really
the best. That's really, really, really
Thanks
the
so
best.
much for sharing that.
That's why we did it. It's
that
it's
was
really,
the whole
really
plan.
special. Cool. Okay, so the question is, Buddy was abused. He lost a tail and a leg and had a target burned on his skin before we rescued him. That's so sad.
Buddy.
When he sees a crate, he cries, trembles, rolls on his back, and pees all over himself.
Yeah.
I can only imagine what was done to him in a crate. I don't have the heart to crate him. Is there an alternative? Oh, it's the worst.
Well, so great first part of the story, sad part of the second story.
Yeah.
Lucky for Buddy that he's found you. So that's great news. As for the crate thing, so here's my thing. If Buddy doesn't need to be in a crate, I mean, if you feel comfortable leaving him at home, if he doesn't soil or damage or try and escape, I'm totally okay with him being out of the crate. The crate, the crate is great for dogs that have got behavior issues, separation anxiety issues, don't trust them necessarily at home, you're concerned about what they might get into while you're gone. My guys aren't crated while I'm gone, so if Buddy is safe like that in all those contexts, then you could definitely get away without the crate. If you're not sure about it, if you're not sure if he's okay with all that stuff, then you could come up with a compromise and you could find a way to cordon off like the kitchen, using baby gates or X pens, which you can get at like Petco or order online. You get X pens and pen off like an area, and so he'd have like something that's not associated with being a crate that freaks him out, but maybe the kitchen area, or maybe a bathroom, or maybe a small room or something like that, or maybe just a bedroom that he feels more secure in a smaller zone and doesn't have as much space to get into trouble with. So
yeah, I said that same thing. I thought you were going to have me answer this one, so I did say pretty much those exact same things. Was just maybe you could put him in a bedroom, smaller containment, and if he doesn't need it, he doesn't need it.
Yeah. A lot of dogs do well in the kitchen. People will cordon off the kitchen, so that's always a choice, because in case they have an accident, you've always got, or typically you've got like tile or something like that you can clean up.
Yeah, and I'm not like a big expert on anything, but especially not this, what I'm about to say. But I wonder if feeding meals in a crate, or like try to create some positive stuff, but it just sounds like
well, yeah, and so
extreme.
I thought about that before I wrote my notes, and
Yeah.
Here's the thing. The only reason I'd go down that road is if you were like, he has to be in a crate.
Crated. Yeah,
he needs to get transported in a
Yeah.
crate every once in a while. He's
Yeah.
got to go to the vet, and every once in a while be safe in a crate.
Yeah.
Like if you felt it was really necessary, he learned those skills, then I would do something, and it's kind of drastic, and that would be food drive, which is that he would only eat if he's in the crate. And I would just leave his crate door open, the food's in it, and you got to go in to get it.
Yeah.
And I'd give him a shot at it every day, and as scared as he is, it would have probably taken multiple days for him to feel comfortable enough to go in there.
Yeah.
But typically what happens is there comes a point where a dog goes, I'm more hungry than I'm scared or anxious, and then they'll start to make a break to go in there. So, but if you don't need that absolute, necessity of getting them in there, then I would probably just let it go and go with the earlier advice.
Yeah. Yep.
Cool.
Cool. We're so proud of you.
Yeah,
We're
nice
so
work.
grateful, and thank you so much for checking in with that. It literally is the reason we wanted to do that, to be able to reach more people. So if you're out there, obviously we want people to know about our DVD. You probably already know it if you're watching this, but if you are watching this for the first time, you don't know about our DVD, and you are struggling with your dog with some stuff, and you want to go on the website, thegooddogway.com, that our foundation DVD is literally, it's $85,
Yep.
but
Keep
the
talking.
whole goal was for you to be able to do a full prong collar board and train on your own at home without anyone else but just you and your dog and a prong and leash. We wanted to make it accessible and affordable for everyone. If you don't have access to a trainer or couldn't afford a board and train, I always say if you don't have money, then you need to have the time. So
That's it.
There it is.
This is it. So it comes with 2 DVDs and a PDF that's pretty
intensive,
pretty amazing.
Yep.
Yeah, it's like a book, and it walks you through our board and train program. It also has a ton of additional information, and we've gotten some really pretty amazing reviews from people.
Yeah.
What they've managed to do, and of course it takes work because we're not there to help you, so you got to do it.
Yeah.
We're there here to help you, but you've got to do all the work on your own. But if you do the work, a lot of people are getting really fantastic results with it, so we're extremely proud of it.
Yeah. So
just did you give them the web address?
Yeah, thegooddogway.com. And if you go to our thegooddog.net, you can see it there. It's
On the
also
store.
on
Yeah.
the Facebook page and all that. Okay.
This is my favorite part. Questions 6 through 10. I got nothing. That means somebody else is up for it.
So Sean was a little bit busy.
You want me to time you?
You may, please. Do you want to go to the questions?
Oh, sure. Do you want me to? Do I read it to you?
Yeah.
Ooh, wow, this is the tables have turned. Hold
Oh,
on.
you can do it here. You can do it here. I have
Okay.
them
All right.
Okay. So this is question 6, 25-6.
Not Beth Moody, right?
Yeah, Beth Moody. Oh, no, not that one.
Just read that
Yeah.
one.
Carolyn Hurt.
Okay. Okay, everybody. This is question 6 from Carolyn Hurt.
You want to talk like that?
Hey guys, I apologize if this has been asked before. I'm sure it has. I'm interested in e-collar training with my 1.5-year-old giant schnauzer. She is not badly... Sorry, we just had a schnauzer go home that was challenging.
But that was a mini schnauzer. This
Yeah.
is a giant one.
I'm hoping the giant one doesn't mean supersized problems. She is not badly behaved by any means, but I would like to take her obedience to the next level, and I feel that an e-collar may help me achieve this, especially with off-leash practices. So my questions are, first, is there any particular e-collar that you would recommend? Second, how should I introduce my dog to an e-collar, and what exercises should I practice first? Thanks, Carolyn Hurt.
I know. You want to start that?
Yeah.
Okay, Carolyn.
How much time do you get?
Thanks for lobbing me a softball. 2:30.
Good.
And I mean that in the nicest of ways, but that definitely is a softball question. It's nice
got
for
an
me to
easy-
start
she got an
things out.
easy one,
Got an
yeah.
easy one. Okay, so I apologize if this
Fan
has
you
been
for the
asked
heat.
before. It has been asked before, but actually not directly like this. So it's kind of cool. We have a lot of people that have done this work already through prior videos and stuff. Maybe you're just new to us. So, basically, first, is there any particular e-collar you recommend? Why, yes. We prefer e-collar technologies, which is ecollar.com. If you have most of the dogs, like 90% of the dogs, go on a mini educator. It's about $180 retail. It's the 300 model. And
I was going to grab a box, but
they're all gone. And if you have a dog that's a little bit more, tougher, giant schnauzer, I bet you're good on the mini.
bet you're good.
If you have a bigger, tougher guy, if you get working level and all that stuff, and you need higher levels, then you can use the e-collar technologies Boss. Secondly, how should I introduce my dog to an e-collar, and what exercises should
That's
I?
what it looks like, by the way, guys.
Yeah. What exercises should I practice first? Okay, so instead of walking you through this, since we don't have too much time, all I'm going to say is you're going to go to www.thegooddog.net, and you're going to go to Photos, Videos. You're going to click on the Photos, Videos tab. You're going to see 4 pictures, and one is called How-To Training Videos, free How-To Training Videos. You're going to click on that, and you're going to find the recall video, the place video. What?
Time's flying.
It was a double
It's
question.
fine, baby, go.
So you're going to do recall and place. Those are going to be your main things. But the first thing you need to do after you fit and size the e-collar is get the working level on the dog, and then just do recall and place. And those videos are on there. So have fun with that and then check back in with us.
Okay, nice. And make sure that the collar fit, follow the instructions on the collar fit that we get into in that video. It's real important that you get
Really
good
important.
contact. So don't
skip that step.
don't skip it.
Okay.
Cool. Nice work,
Yeah.
lady. Come on, you're knocking it out of the park. I have to give my best, Laura. This is from question, what's it?
Number 7.
7? Question number 7 from Kathleen Ragsdale. Sean and Laura, my question is, can I adopt you? LOL, update on Phoebe. We are back in the neighborhood during busy walking time. 2 yappers, nothing. Walked on, then a surprise not 8 foot away from us, a little yapper. I turned Phoebe towards me, back to the other dog. When she tried to look, I raised the stem up a little from her working 9, turned her head towards me. Phoebe did nothing. She tried to look, and after several head turns, we walked on. I love you guys so much. Yes, yes,
No,
yes.
that's me.
Yes. Oh,
That's my notes.
sorry. That's Laura.
My notes was basically,
Is that a question?
nope, another softball.
Oh man, did you get lucky? It's so unfair.
So Kathleen, your first question was, can I adopt you? And we said yes. I said yes.
Oh.
And then after the whole update, I said yes. So yes. Exciting.
That's super cool. Kathleen, we're so proud of you. I just answered a response to you on Facebook today as well, and was just kind of singing your praises as well. And if I'm not mistaken, Kathleen is she's older, right?
I think so.
Yeah, she's older, and she's got this pity that she was really at risk of having to
Right.
give up.
Yep.
And
the one that, we did. Was this the one we talked about the spin around?
I'm not sure, but I just
Okay.
know that she's worked really hard, and that
Yeah.
she said the e-collar and prongs saved her dog's life, or at least staying with her.
Yeah.
And but just that you go out and just keep working
Do your
hard.
thing, yeah.
There's so many people that give a half-assed attempt, and then they give up and they don't try, and their dog. I can't walk my dog, and I always love people that things are hard for, and they go out and they just do it anyways, and they have the drive and determination to kick butt, and it just I'm always rooting for you. So I'm really proud of you. Thanks so much for sharing with us your
Thanks
constant.
for being part of our community. You
Yeah.
make it so much better.
Yeah.
All of you do, really do.
Yeah, it's awesome work, lady. Let's see if Artem's question is, hey Laura, can you tell me what your favorite nail polish color is? What? Artem, come on, buddy.
You would never.
Okay,
Never.
just kidding.
You know Artem.
All right. Hello, Sean and Laura. Thanks for the answers last episodes. My today question is about feeding protocol. How to deal with a dog which can wait for food for a long time, and she's doing it calmly, but in the beginning when owner takes her bowl with her food inside, she's getting excited and tense. So she can calm down and wait some time, but is always beginning, she is always excited. And everybody, Artem's from Ukraine, so don't hard time him about his spelling. He's much better than my Ukrainian. But is the very beginning, she is always excited about food. Not jumping or any other crazy stuff, but her body language and actions, even the way she looks, is all about tension and excitement. Is there any way to make the calm from the very beginning when food is around? She also can hold eye contact on the owner when she's doing food protocol, as you do it, saying no, and bowl goes up if she is tensely looking on it, but she's still excited. And the dog is not eating fast, it's just excitement when she sees food. Prong or e-collar corrections for that excitement make the dog whining and get confused. Thank you guys. P.S. It's cool technical update with Laura's cam. Video looks and sounds better.
Yay.
Awesome.
Okay, start that timer.
And
Question
I
8.
have feelings about this if you need any help.
All right. Thank you. How did I know this is how these questions were going to go?
I said, do you need any help?
No. I do need help. I'm going to start
I'll
with
sip
just...
my sarsaparilla and just be
No,
quiet.
I'm going to start with what I really feel about this is I don't honestly think this is the worst thing in the world. If you have a dog that if she was being bratty in a million contexts, and this is another one that she's like excited about food and won't calm down and isn't giving any respect and is wolfing down the food, then you've got an issue. But what I hear is just a dog that's excited about food and doing their best to contain themselves, which is, she's sitting, she's giving you eye contact, she's not rushing it. She's not rushing it when she eats it. She's just excited about food. My dog's super excited when I feed him. He's super excited. He gets really oh, to be so good and sit here so quiet, and gets kind of awkward about it. And I'm not going to correct that because he's not rushing it. He's giving me eye contact. He's, drooling, he's doing all that stuff. So that is my answer. Is don't worry about it. You don't need to correct that stuff unless it's coming from a place that you're seeing come out in a bunch of other contexts. Then my guess would be that you need to
resource guarding or something serious around the food.
But if the dog has a problem with excitement all over, the place to address it is not when the food is out. That needs to be addressed everywhere else so there's more respect. But my guess is probably just the dog's just excited about food because
who isn't?
Who isn't?
You're a smarty pants is what you are. I would have said the same thing. I think it's real easy, guys, and I'm going to check in with Artem and everybody else that's doing dog work or their own dogs. Something I like to talk about once in a while, and that it's really easy to get, I think, overly fixated on small details. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think we can squeeze a little too hard on certain things, and I get the concept why, and it's admirable, but the reality is like Laura said, this dog's doing a really great job, and there's no ripple or fallout effect anywhere else, just a little excitement. I'm really down with that. A dog, it's normal for them to be excited. Every single dog is. If you want to do some ridiculous, the food's out, and then 8 hours later I come back and I pick it up, and then I set it down, and 8 hours later I come back, and you could do some wacky, intense thing to try and create a dog that is I have no association.
I don't care.
But that's not what I'm looking to do. I don't care about that. And even the most serious resource guarders that we've gotten in here, they don't have to be zombies about their food, right? They just have to be polite. Give me a courteous moment. Wait when I'm asking you to wait. Don't push boundaries. Don't be disrespectful. And then if you are wolfing it, then I'm going to give you a slow feed bowl, something like that. But otherwise, I think it's really okay. And I think I'd give you yourself, Artem, your client, and the dog permission to just kind of let that one slide and go after bigger fish to fry. Let's be real cautious with the dog training thing, that we don't get too fixated on nuance and detail too much. Yeah. It's good to be detail oriented, but we can all get carried away a little bit too much.
But like I said, if those things are coming out in different arenas, the food place isn't the place to address it. You need to address it a bunch of other places before that.
But I think this is a good question for him, and I'm glad, because I know he's somebody who cares a lot and is looking to dive deeply into the best way to do things. And so I think it's a great one for you to also hear about where to let things go. I think it's an important balance. Yep. So that's her cool. A to your Q.
Cool. Okay. Question number 25-9.
Okay. Coralie. Mm-hmm. Hi, Sean and Laura. My dog Chet, who is 2.5, started peeing in the house overnight. He's not crated at night, as he spends enough time in the crate during the day, but he goes and pees in the crate through the closed door at night. He started once a week, then once every other night, and now it's every night. We had him checked by a vet, and he's 100% healthy. We feed him at 7 p.m., take his water away at 7:30 p.m., walk him at 8:30 p.m., and let him out during the yard at 9:38ish. So walk him at 8:30 p.m. and let him out in the yard 9:30ish during the weekend.
He gets plenty.
Take him out. And should we feed him at 6 and take his water out? I'm scared it's becoming a habit, and he just doesn't see the need to hold it until morning. Take any advice? I think you need to refer them to the potty specialist.
She said you guys were sent from heaven. I thought that was sweet.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Coralie.
Oh, thank you, Coralie. I skipped the last part because we're running out of time.
We're in a rush. Okay, so you want to set that thing?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, Coralie. What I had for you, this one was a little bit tough for me, so I'm going to call in Sean for this. Reset. But what I did get, what I would say is, it sounds like your dog's kind of marking your crate, because obviously he's outside of the crate, right? He pees in the crate through the closed door, right?
I don't know. I don't know if he's peeing.
He's not crated at night. Says he's not crated at night, spends enough time during the day, but he goes and pees in the crate so he's lifting his leg on the crate, essentially, through the crate door. So what I was going to say is, You could clean the crate really well, so there's not like this scent of him like going. You could move the crate so it's not, because I'm sure it's getting out of the crate a little bit to create this like, oh, this is where I go. But more than that, if he's e-collar trained, I'm not sure, I would just catch him in the act and correct him for it.
I'd nail his behind. If that's what he's really doing is marking the crate, I would either e-collar. If he's e-collar trained, you nail him at a high level when he does it. You just hide out or put a camera or whatever you have to do. Or you put a long, it's going to be hard because he's doing it in the middle of the night.
Do e-collar.
Yeah.
But
if you can't do the e-collar, then you could do something like a coin can or something and like scare the bejesus out of him when he does that.
Pet convincer or something like that. And I know it's in the middle of the night, but maybe kind of like the time that he does it, Yeah,
I've never heard this before, so this is a brand new one. And so if we got the question right that he's marking the crate, then you need to correct that. It sounds like you're doing everything right. It sounds like he's being a dingbat. Maybe put the crate up at night.
Yeah, you could do that.
Yeah, if he's not sleeping in it, if he's just using it for a urinal, let's get rid of that thing at night and let him sleep in it during the day if he does. So I hope that answers your question. So let us know if we didn't answer it thoroughly.
Yeah, I think that was good.
Great.
Okay, this is our final one. Man, we did 20.
20 questions, right?
So this is 25-10. Hey, Sean and Laura, this is from Instagram, apupkratos. Epupkratos is the the handle.
Of course.
Hey, Sean and Laura, I've watched your videos on e-collar training. My dog has the heel command perfected, so thank you so much for that. I have a problem where I'll take him out to walk. He does really good in the beginning, but as we keep walking, after a while, he starts with a little tension on the leash. I correct, and he stops pulling. We are walking, and once we're a block or two away from home, he starts to pull and ignore the e-collar corrections altogether. He just pulls and keeps the leash tight. I don't know why he seems all of a sudden to get nervous. I think it's just certain areas he feels uncomfortable around. Once we've turned my street, he's back to normal. Can you please tell me what I can do to correct his problem and make him more confident?
Yeah.
Thank you.
What was her name? Oh, never mind.
It's
Sorry.
Jack.
Okay, so did I start that? I guess I did. I'm supposed to start it now.
Oh.
Stop. Reset. Start.
I'm going to start quick with my quick notes.
Yeah.
Is just that with the e-collar, you're probably going to have to go up in those moments preemptively and before those moments even occur. So if you start to see your dog, if you're going down those streets, typically at this house, and the dog starts to pant or speed up or any of that, you want to correct that behavior, not when the dog gets to the point. You want to correct kind of the ramp up.
The very beginning. Yeah. So we get this all the time, and it's very normal for dogs to speed up in certain parts of the neighborhood. Some parts they've got, grudges with other dogs behind fences where the dogs pull and they get upset. Other things they might be afraid they're getting far from the house. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
Whatever's going on, your dog is having a reaction. He's either getting excited or he's getting nervous, and they're both changing his speed. So what you have to do is you have to adjust the intensity of your e-collar to match that intensity and state of mind shift. Correct him at a high enough level to where he gives into that pressure and slows down. Your job is not to be static on that e-collar. Your job is to match whatever level your dog's state of mind is at. So when he's walking really effortlessly, you probably need a lower correction. Say you're at 10, wherever we'll just say 10. But when he starts to pull and get a little bit nutty, you might need 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, something like that. So you might be getting just stuck on a number and thinking, well, this works here, why isn't it working here? And that's because the state of mind shifting, the intensity, adrenaline, excitement's happening.
Yeah.
Your dog needs more juice from the collar in order for him to even perceive it and respond to it in the same way that he is in the other parts of the walk. Yeah. So take the rules off for yourself, watch your dog. I don't even look at the e-collar. Roll up, find the level that your dog goes, okay, I get it, I care about that, and then that's your level for right there. Once he relaxes a little bit, you can maybe turn it back down. He starts to get anxious, you can turn it back up. So you want to be fluid with the e-collar as your dog's mind is fluid as well. So that's the best answer I can give you. Do you like?
Awesome.
Cool. 20. Big
All
20.
right,
Thanks, guys.
Quick wrap up.
We'll see, I promise.
You'll be 100% next time.
I'll be 100% next time, and I'll be back to my hopefully charming self.
Yes, you were charming this time.
Good, great. I'm going to go keel over and die now.